You know how the federal government crams bills down your throat at night when you're peacefully sleeping in your bed? You know how the federal government passes all the really important stuff in the dead of night, maybe Christmas Eve? Our government's not corrupt. It's legit. I mean, don't say it's corrupt. It's clearly legit and fair and above board. Well, have you heard of the Real ID? They've been talking about this for, I don't know, decade. They've been threatening that they're going to get ready. Well, I'm going to connect the dots for you. And also, if you're buying crypto, uh-oh. So a brief rundown. I used to fly a lot, like quite a bit, like not more than everyone, but more than like the average person. Not a business traveler who flew every week, but I flew many times a year. You get the point. Well, the thing is, I've been seeing the Real ID, and you can't fly without your federalized Real ID since forever. Well, in 2017, I was flying from Spokane, Washington to Chicago, Illinois. And I was doing my thing, doing what I do, just strutting on in there, getting ready to check into the VIP first class lounge because I'm kind of a big deal. And the reality is, there's a bunch of people screaming about the Real ID and that you've got like 2 months at the time, or you can't travel, your life's over, we're going to deport you back to Russia, you communist bow. Okay, I digress, but you understand where I'm going with this. It's going to happen in a couple months. Well, a couple months passed and America gave the government the old one-finger salute, as they often do, and not enough people signed up for the Real ID because it's really useless, and so they couldn't make good on their threats. Well, can't travel. They're like, oh, wait, test me if I can't travel. Every airline will go out of business in like a month. And we've seen that. Fast forward to 2020, every airline was begging the federal government for money within like 2 to 3 weeks of shutting down. So using them to scare people is not working because people just simply don't care. And they want this federalized ID. So recently they've been coming out with like, you got to get your federal ID, Real ID. What have I had my whole life? A library card with my picture on it? This is a Real ID. My driver's license. When I was 16, I had to supply like birth certificate and all these other documents. The only time I used it in my life to get my driver's license. Like, no, it's not real enough. What? What do you mean? It already is real. So this is why nobody got on board, because nobody cared. They made a bunch of empty threats. Nobody cared. Well, recently they've been sending out mass postage again. In 2021, you better get your real... I thought this was going into effect 8 years ago. What are you talking about? You better get your Real ID or you can't... Now, it may affect your health care. Are you out of your mind? It may affect your health care. So they're literally like, well, we can't threaten them with travel because no one cares, so we're going to threaten them with health care. Now, the Real ID organization and the Immunity Passport organization is basically the same conglomerate of government officials. We're just going to stick with that. But the same people who've been threatening the Real ID, it's like when your wife tells the kids, like, you better clean your room until your dad gets home. You want me to call your dad? And I come strolling in. Oh, yeah. Deal with your daughter. Oh, what? What do you want me to do? Beat the hell out? Like, give her a hug? What do you think the dads are going to do? Okay, get your stuff. I'm taking you fishing, right? And this is the federal government. You bet. And the people are like, nah. Well, no, it's going into effect in 2014. Nah. 15? Nope. 16? Think again. 17? Kick rocks big. You know the rest. So it didn't work. So now they're saying you got to have these Real ID/immune passports. You can't drive. You can't get health care. So now they're talking about crypto. They're literally talking about incorporating banking banks, like your money, with these real ID, and there's been talks of merging your immune passport with your driver's license, where you can't get health care, have a bank account, or an investment account, which includes cryptocurrency, or fly, which no one seems to care about. They've been threatening that for 10 years, if you don't have this. At what point are people going to stand up and say, no, dude, we no longer accept your system? This is incredible. I mean, we're living in a world right now where the federal government, as we speak, is stating that the Constitution is not absolute. Really, well, the part where it says taxes, is that absolute? Yep. What about the part where it says freedom of speech? You don't have any unless I say so. And we saw this. There was one place that people who leaned a different direction had on the internet. Parler. Great service? No. Decent service? But it leaned a different direction. It wasn't the garbage Twitter or the useless Facebook or the pornographic Instagram. What is that? Right? No, it was Parler. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it was better than most. Apple's like, boot. Google's like, see ya. Amazon's like, oh, you think that's good? Hold my beer. Off the internet for you. And that was it. That was it. So when are people going to quit dealing with this? When are people like, you know what? I've had it. Never is my guess. Never. Are you just going to accept this? The federal government is waging a plan where you literally, now, let's be honest, this is biblical. I don't care if you believe in the Bible or not. Like, this is literally, they're talking about injecting you with microchips. I mean, you can't tell me that's not biblical. You just can't. I won't believe you. I literally won't believe you. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, I've questioned the Bible my entire life. I spent the first part of my life being one of the most devout atheists you've ever met. I would challenge pastors to the point where they were literally steaming red because I knew they couldn't answer any of my questions. And sometimes believing is, listen, dude, this ain't Santa Claus. And so I would destroy pastors on a regular basis just for fun. And eventually I started getting to the point where I'm like, wait a minute. I got a couple tricks, and I'm a very good communicator. I'm very intelligent. I'm very quick on my feet. So I can outdo these guys intellectually because they don't have a leg to stand on. But maybe there's more to this book. And I started diving deep in my mid-20s. And one thing leads to another. But you can't tell me this ain't biblical, the crap that's going on right now. Somebody predicted right. Now, we're in a world where you can't be alive unless you do what the federal government says. If that isn't treason, if that isn't everything this country stands against, then I don't know where I currently am. But, you know, America. I even got a Go All In t-shirt. America. GoAllInShop.com. You know, best coffee in the game. Also, America. Right now, there's an attack on the Second Amendment, which is insane. There's an attack on the First Amendment, which is nothing new. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an attack on the right to a speedy trial pretty soon. There's certainly going to be an attack on the government, the military can take over your house. Where was this? Like, this is insanity. So if you buy crypto, if you have a bank, they're looking at bills that would stop you from having a bank if you don't have a passport. Do you know the meaning of passport, federal government? I have a passport, and if I want to go to South America or Sweden, I'm going to need that passport. But you shouldn't need a passport to go from Florida to Minnesota, or Minnesota to Texas, or Texas to California, or California to, you know, I don't know why anybody would go to Seattle. Garbage. But to go somewhere else, you know, South Dakota. No, you shouldn't need a passport. But, well, you got your shots. And now, conveniently, oh, you need these shots regularly. And did you see that? I don't watch the news, but I seen this clip on YouTube from the news. Ted Cruz was doing a press conference. Ted Cruz is fully vaccinated and can prove it. Doing a press conference, they want him to wear a mask. He's like, why would I wear a mask? I'm vaccinated, bro. We'd feel more comfortable if you wear. I don't care what you would feel more comfortable with. Move that way then. Bye, clown, bye. So they want you to wear a mask, which is insane, which is why I've stopped doing business with most places. I went to Vegas the other day. Wear a mask? No, I will not, because I don't care. Oh, you're going to get COVID and die. Yeah, bro. Okay, I'm not going to have this debate with anybody right now. But the reality is, will you get COVID? Probably. Most people, I've had it. I've had COVID. It's another form of the flu. Oh, you could die. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm 87 or a weak immune system, you could die. My friend's uncle got in a motorcycle crash, died last year, and they literally wrote, died of COVID. No, dude, he died of blunt force trauma. But apparently he wasn't even sick. Like, listen, to say this crap is real, you're out of your mind. But to attack banking and cryptocurrency and investment accounts because you don't have real ID or immune passport is insane. And there's a bill basically stating you can't be alive. You can't participate in being alive unless you do what they want. So my question to you is, when are people going to stand up? When are people going to form their own party? When are people going to do something different? As opposed to just sit around and be like, yeah, dude, this makes sense. And whether or not you get different, I don't care if you get vaccines. I don't care if you get shots. I don't care what you do. But what you do and what I do don't mesh. I'll do whatever the hell I want to do, and you do the same. And until people start standing up, it's not going to get any better. It's literally going to get worse. Anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're all in on the passport and the real ID and the army soldier in your living room and the federal cameras in your bedroom. I mean, what is this? Make sure you go all into everything you do. And I'll see you guys in the next video.